Uh, I guess what time is it? It's 11:01. We can get started and see if anybody else joins. Marcos is also here. Hello, Marcos. I think you're face muted, which is okay.
Hi there.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening to my camera,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm here.
Well, great to have you. Yay. Um,
Thank-
cool. So today I put in a section for interesting links for the month. Um, and I didn't add anything to it because I added a bunch of links below. But if you have any other relevant, I don't know, educational resources or non-relevant but just weird open science resources that you found on the web this week, feel free to put them there and share them with the rest of the people on the call. And the agenda for today is, as I said before, journal clubs. Um, I put a definition for journal clubs on line 80 because I'm not actually sure. Oh, yay, your camera works now, Marcos. Cool. I'm not exactly sure if everybody knows what those are or if there's the same across disciplines. Is everybody generally familiar with the concept of a journal club and getting together to read papers with other people who are peers or interested in a similar research topic? It seems to be very prevalent in medicine and biomedical research, but I don't know if I've seen it as much outside of that. Does anybody want to chime in with your journal club experience? Anyone? Anyone?
I-
I don't know, my lab tries to have journal club, but it's never been super successful, actually. I don't know. Getting people to all actually read the article has been kind of an issue. So
Yeah, totally. I wonder too if is it always one article that people just congregate around, or is it sometimes multiple papers that have conflicting points, or what do you think is a better? I'm going to put notes in too about what are the challenges, and it seems that reading the article and doing homework is a challenge for everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I-
I'm on phone and on video.
Oh, okay. Your voice is slightly different, and I was like, oh, yay, someone else joined.
Sorry.
Thanks for faking me
Just me
out,
twice.
man.
Yeah, my sound didn't work. I don't know, the computer.
Oh, weird. Yeah, sometimes mine bugs up too. Video is a strange thing. I'm on a call later today, actually, just as a sidebar, with other people trying to figure out if video is what we're going to use persistently for these types of calls, or if we're going to have our own different system. So that might change soon. We might have a different setup, so it's not so much like clicking on a link and downloading this thing that you're not really ever using except for during our calls. Cool. So doing homework is a challenge, getting people to read the articles. Does anyone have experience, I guess, hosting them and having people from all different levels come? Like study groups are sometimes mixed, undergrad, grad, sometimes professors or postdocs will show up. But I don't know if journal clubs are as inviting typically. Because I'm not sure that I think at different levels people maybe don't feel like they need it or feel like they only want to meet with peers to talk about those things. I don't know. That was just an idea.
well,
Yeah, I think it's kind of usually a hodgepodge of different people. Um, and so it's kind of hard to be direct in what you really want to talk about and then also be inviting. And I guess I've always kind of experienced them to be pretty specific to certain things. So I don't know.
Yeah. I put a section 2 on line 87 for ideas for journal clubs. There's a bunch of resources lower down the pad that are like journal clubs we proposed in the study group lessons repo, but those are mostly open science focused ones or computational biology focused ones. And so Vicky put in some links to I guess, face recognition and some IoT stuff around line 88 that he was thinking of suggesting as a journal club idea. And he asked if it was okay if he put it in this section, and I was like, yeah, sure, sounds great. It seems like he's super pro journal club, but I wonder, based on line 93, but I wonder if in practice they're as popular. We haven't really had a lot of traffic with people saying that they're using our journal club lesson suggestions. I guess I think, to Sarah's point earlier, it is really difficult to get people to do something before they show up for an event, unless it just means installing a package or something. Like anything that requires them to do more work beyond what they're already doing at their jobs is too much.
We did kind of have a journal club last year that was pretty well attended, actually. It was on my paper that had come out last year, and I sent out some like theory around it. I don't know if it was my poor organization of it, but it turned into a lot of people just giving criticism on my paper, which is like kind of a mixed bag. Like, yeah, it's great to get some good feedback, but it kind of like went downhill faster than I would have liked. I mean, I know as scientists we are critical creatures, but it was a little more than, I don't know, I think maybe being the subject of the talk and being the moderator was not a good place for me. So, I don't know.
So wait, did people, because we've always had this question, because a lot of our journal clubs will devolve into stuff like that, where it's like, let's find every nitpicky thing about this article and just tear it apart. And we've always wondered if we would act the same way if the author was there. So did people know that they?
Yes. Yes, they knew it was my paper. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And there were nitpicky things like you could have used this better software that I know of that just came out, and I'm like, I did this work 2 years ago. Like, it just got published. So I don't know. It did get kind of nitpicky surprisingly fast, but it was okay. I lived through it, so it wasn't any worse than my prelim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, I think we're not really trained to agree with people, right? And then like most significant ideas are usually presented as critiques, and people are more attentive to it because they're like, oh, you're saying something negative. Oh, you gotta pay attention to this. Maybe we need to fix something. But there isn't a lot of like wild flattery in academia unless you're trying to. Yeah, unless you're writing a grant or you're trying to pander to somebody's ego. Yeah.
And you're referencing other people, and then it's the truth.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the multiple levels kind of came in. We don't really have any undergrads, but we did have one new assistant professor that attended, and she kind of like tried to get us back on topic. She was like, isn't the point this? Like, shouldn't we be talking about this? So it was kind of like, oh, that's so sweet that she attempted to push us back in a productive direction. But that's actually the only other thing I remember about it. I blocked out pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's nice to maybe have roles defined for it. So like there's a person who comes up with the questions that, you know, guide the conversation, and then there's the person that like is the like, what do they call it when someone's in the audience who knows what the questions are and has like these primed answers that they're gonna like give to move things along, like having somebody else who can counterpoint or to help you support a session. Also, yeah, oh my God, that would be terrifying for me, having people critique a paper or something that I wrote while I was in the room. I'd probably end up crying. I'm proud of you for like surviving that situation. All right, it looks like we were just joined by someone. Hey, what's happening? I can hear you, but I can't see you. Oh, and it's very loud. Would you mind muting? Hi.
Okay, hi.
Hi. Could you mute your video, because it's very loud. There's a lot of feedback. Unless you want to talk, in which case you can unmute after.
Okay.
Thank you. Awesome. Welcome to the study group call. I'm not sure you have the Etherpad, so I'll put it in the chat. But we're just talking about journal club experiences right now in our study groups. And, oh, I don't know why I did line number 96, but you can move up. So we're about around line 89. We're talking about different paper suggestions and journal club ideas, getting feedback from people's experiences, and hosting collaborative peer discussions around papers. So yay, thank you for yay, Rob's taking notes, this is great. So journal club formats, awesome. I guess we haven't really, I think in the study group lessons repo and in the old handbook and the orientation guide, we have a breakdown of how a journal club might go. But around line, if you want to skip down the pad, around line 189, there's a bunch of like template lessons for journal clubs, and I put in a couple of different like tutorials on how to host them and what are like top 10 tips for successful journal clubs. I thought those would be kind of useful. And then there's some interesting like software packages too for running journal clubs or setting up journal club websites. Most study groups already have a website, so you don't need to do like a special thing, but if you wanted to, you could. And then there's even podcasts, which I found very fascinating, that people like put another media layer on top of what is already just like a discussion about a paper, and they make a podcast where they just do journal clubs remotely and have guests and stuff. So that could also be another option where you do like a call or something and have a journal club around it. We've never really organized one of our calls like that, but maybe we could do that for one of the future study group calls, like send everybody an open science paper or a manifesto from some open science institution and discuss how it fits with the rest of everybody's agendas and work. That could be fun. You don't have to +1 it right now, but I know you're all thinking about it and thinking like, yeah, that's a great idea, Aurelia. So glad you suggested it. Woo. Cool. Yay, I'm so glad you're excited about the resources. That's great. I guess also another thing that I had a question about is access. So how do you distribute the papers, or do you take only open access papers for your journal clubs? Do you get them in archive, or where's the like hosting body and how do people get the paper? Or do you just email a PDF around to everyone, or is that too sketch? Like what's the what's the process?
Well,
I guess for us,
so
we have just through the university network, we're fortunate enough to have access to most of the papers, so we just send out links. A lot of people will email PDFs though, but I know that there's some resources like Mendeley where you can collaboratively take notes on PDFs, sort of in a Mendeley sort of stores the metadata for a specific journal, and they link with all the DOIs and all that fun stuff. So, but it's kind of a hassle to get people on board with the same software. It's always a hurdle to do. It could definitely be better than emailing out PDFs, which is often.
that sounds cool, because I always just email the PDF, and then, well, maybe using Mendeley and sharing notes might be very, very interesting. This sounds cool.
Yeah, I
No, for
wasn't
sure.
sure.
It makes me kind of sad that there's just probably so many PDFs just abandoned in people's mailboxes, where you could just send out the link and people could just access it that way. But
Yeah, I thought Mendeley was bought by someone and is no longer available. Is it still open?
Oh, Elsevier, yeah.
Yeah.
Elsevier, yeah.
I never know how to
We got
pronounce
that.
it either. Elsevier. I never know how to pronounce it. But yeah, it looks like we lost the other fellow who joined. That's too bad. I hope he comes back. Maybe he was scared because I asked him to mute and he was like mad at me for that. I hope not. Anyway, cool. So yeah, sharing notes on the docs would be interesting, or even just having like a remote journal club where everybody joins the doc at the same time and tries to read and put comments, which might be actually quite chaotic, but could be really interesting to see what people pull out as like, this is a quote I'm interested in talking about, and then what kind of threads develop. And then you'd have that entire document as this asset of your journal club that recorded all the notes. That could actually be really cool. Maybe we'll do that sometime. That's really funny. Cool. Those were my questions about journal clubs. Okay, so it's among the formats, one person reports, one person reads in depth and explains as if it were, okay. That actually is really nice, I think, as a starting structure, because then people who show up and didn't actually read it or only read the abstract get like a deep dive a bit. It'll be a biased, very human delivered deep dive, but still, at least they can engage in the conversation after that, because there's all kinds of ways you could take that conversation independent of like just quoting the piece. You could be talking about other papers you've heard about that are relevant to it. So that could be really interesting. I've also heard of them as like panel discussions where you invite a couple of people to sit and have like a fireside chat in front of everyone. I don't know why I said it in that voice, but fireside chat can be said in a normal voice too. But people just sit there and talk about it amongst themselves, and then the audience like watches those people have a conversation, which I don't know if that's, that might be kind of annoying to watch people have a conversation and not be able to fully engage with it, but it also takes the pressure off you from reading the article. What is Jigsaw? You haven't defined what Jigsaw is, and I'm kind of interested.
I was listening to your fireside chat.
Oh, right.
A jigsaw is you choose a topic, and then a handful of papers, and then people independently read those papers, and then you kind of collectively discuss the topic versus one paper specific. So you can do like the pros and cons of a couple different approaches. If you wanted to do like software, you choose a bunch of software papers. Because we all know that if you write a software paper, all of your figures say that your software is the best and it's unbeatable and it blows everyone else out of the water. So getting a couple different perspectives when and where you use specific software is good.
I wonder too if there could be an alternate version where now that open data is required for a lot of, or for some paper submissions, it would be interesting if people had parties where they tested the data or took a look at it and like had read the article and just like tried to run the experiment or redesign the experiment to see if it worked, and then like wrote up a blog post or something that informally confirmed or disputed things. That would be a very interesting open forum, also very terrifying for anyone who writes a paper where they attach their data, but it could be fun and interactive, and then people who don't just like reading papers but also or into software development or whatever could join in on that. And it could be also a teaching tool. I think about my students, like it would be nice to give them a paper assignment and then ask them as an assignment to reproduce the experiment or work with the data, and then discuss it with the rest of the group. Great. That's Jigsaw. I like this. Jigsaw. Wonder why that one gets a special name and everyone else just gets old school and one person report. We need to find other games like Yahtzee or cards. I don't know. What's like the equivalent of old school? Chess? Chess. That's...
I like your fireside chat there.
Yeah. That one's cool.
But my point is, she's not going to pay.
Like at MozFest last year, we had a few sessions people proposed as fireside chats that would just be informal discussions about a topic. And we had like a computer screen that we put a picture of a fire on. And so they were sitting in front of this little computer fire. It was very funny. But anyways,
Like that channel that has the fireplace.
Yeah.
for Christmas.
Yeah, there's a channel, and then like hotels always seem to have it too. It's very weird. I think it's because they probably have it like burning somewhere in some room. They have a fake fire burning. I realized I should have moved the new contributors up. I welcome new contributors typically. Maybe maybe last year wouldn't have left if I had welcomed the new contributors. Oh, I feel so bad about that. I hope he didn't drop off because he was intimidated. Anyway, next time we'll welcome the new contributors right away, right? Everybody here hold me accountable to welcome the new contributors. Cool, so study group updates. Let's move on to that. Khartoum is in Sudan, and Azza cannot connect this morning because of bandwidth issues, so she wasn't able to join. But she's doing very exciting things, and they planned a hackathon on machine learning a few weeks ago, and they want to do another follow-up session on that. So her group is quite advanced, all bioinformaticians who are very good coders, and it's very impressive. So U of T coders, it looks like they filled in, but I think Madeline has a lab meeting that is actually during the same time, so she couldn't make it. But they have a lot of sessions. Whoa, I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise in the background. I'll try to skip to your updates so that I can mute. Oh, they have a new stickers and a new logo. That's very exciting. They made a logo. They had a hackathon with the rest of their group during a hacky hour where they just fixed their website, and we sent them money for pizza. So if you're interested in having a hacky hour where you fix your website for study groups and you would like some food or like a swag pack, let me know because I can send you those things. Cool. I'm gonna mute right now, and we're gonna skip down to the next person who is actually on the call, who is Sarah. Sarah, would you like to give your update?
Sure. So we have our two Python and R study groups are going steady. Attendance has dropped off very slightly. I think we had like 8 to 10 people coming. Now it's like 5 to 7. So a slight drop in the number of people who come to each of those groups. We did have our first monthly meeting sometime last month. I'm really excited because I planned all of our monthly meetings at the beginning of the semester, and so they're done. All prep and planning each month what's going to happen next month. And then, we're having a special event this week where I teach people how to use Git and GitHub. So yesterday I did like an intro, and today I'll be teaching pull requests and branching. And I want to tell one of the last study of our calls here got me inspired because they talked about Pandoc, their lesson on Pandoc, and I was like, I want everybody to know about how I use Pandoc. And so after after branches and pull requests today, I'm going to kind of show them how I use Pandoc to render documents that are text-based and therefore version controlled. So I thought it was really it's really and then I'm really excited because I found a new person to replace me. She actually is the person who sits behind me. Sometimes comes back while we're in this call, but she has a class right now, so she's not here. But yeah, and she emceed her first R study group this week, so yeah, there she is actually. But yeah, so she'll replace me after this semester. Say hi.
Hi.
And that's all my updates.
Very cool. Wow, those are all very exciting. I'm so glad the Pandoc session was useful. If you ever also have proposals for things you would like to see as walkthroughs, we're going to try to do more lesson walkthroughs where people actually talk about what they do with their study group instead of just like broad themes like machine learning or whatever. So if you ever like come upon a lesson or something you want to teach and you would like to see how someone does it and what their curriculum is for it, we could totally do that. So you guys can recommend, in the chat or whatever, or email me, and I will figure it out for the next study group call. Cool. So Rob, I think, is next.
Yeah, sure. We started a brand new study group in our lab. When I was in the previous lab, we were kind of doing hacky hour, sort of informal meetups, and we started to shy away from that. I moved location, so it was hard to all meet in one place. So I started a new study group here within our lab because we have a really diverse mix of people who are benchtop scientists, some computational people, some veterinarians, so people from really sort of all over the place. We kind of wanted a forum to sit down, and so we extended our lab meeting for up to an hour after lab meeting, and we're just sort of trying to collectively decide on some good computational practices for our lab, and writing it all down and putting it in one place so we can sort of come up with a sort of lab protocol or documentation for computational approaches that we're taking. So some of the things we're starting off with is getting comfortable with using Git, GitHub, and then what version control, like once you get past the painful parts, how it really, really helps you down the road, and then trying to focus on computational tools that people already use in the lab. So a lot of people use R, Python, so trying to bring people up to speed with a lot of the newer packages, like pandas and things that make data analysis a lot more fun and easier. So we're getting booted up right now. We've had one already, and we have scheduled for the next 5, so pretty happy with that.
Well,
Very cool. That sounds great. Wow. I'm so glad you started a new one and you're still carrying with it. And you have such an interesting community who like is so diverse. That's cool. Yeah, I hope it goes well. Keep us posted. Okay, Vicky can't join. He's nonverbal, I think, but he put in some paper reading on deep face and reinspect, neither of which I know anything about, but probably something related to deep learning. I don't know. Deep learning is so obscure to me. Every time I read an article about it, I'm like, wow, this sounds so great. And then I get about halfway through and I'm like, what the hell is going on in this article? Like, I think maybe the big challenge with deep learning must be figuring out, like, what is your code actually trying to do? And like, do you want the result of that? Because it's very, it's very confusing, graph structures. Anyway, cool, so it looks like they're doing great stuff. And Marcos, you're up next.
Yes. Okay. Can you see me? Because I don't see my... Oh, I can't see myself here in the call, but now it's working. Okay. Well, we had our second meeting. Actually, we decided to have only a single meeting each month, but we also decided to try to, from time to time, to create those extra meetings about anything that might be interesting to us. So yesterday we had a very, very nice round table about open science. So I made a presentation and invited 2 grad students to talk anything they would like to about open science, and we had this discussion, and a lot of people came. This was very, very nice. About 20 people was there to talk to us and to listen, and we tried to live stream, and I think it worked because there was a bunch of other 20 people watching online and sometimes sending messages to us. It was really, really cool. And next week we will have our second regular meeting. So things are going really, really nice. It's a new group. Everyone is excited about it, and I believe things will be very cool this year. I'm not sure yet how many people are really going to stay to along the year, but right now I'm very happy.
That's awesome. Sounds like a great turnout. And actually, we haven't had a study group call themed around just open science lessons and how people present open science. But we have a couple of open science specific, like there's one called the Open Science Utility Belt that's in the study group lessons repo. And that's just a list of a bunch of resources and approaches to explaining open science. But it's not something we've ever really talked about or unpacked, and it's something that is featured in the orientation like exercises. But again, it's pretty core to the stuff we do, and so it would make sense to do a themed call on open science. Maybe we'll do the next one on that and have someone talk through, or maybe we can have you talk through how you presented the topic to everyone. It sounds really awesome. Cool. So yeah, the other updates, we could skip back up to the top. Oh, Danielle put in an update on line 148. She has an open day-to-day workshop, so she can't come today, but they're becoming an official student group. That is very exciting. And they're doing advanced Git, which is also cool. She told me last time that they tried to like have a meeting and have everyone like learn about Git via the study group website, which was great, except everyone tried to edit the members.yaml file, and she was like, there were so many merge conflicts, it was so confusing and hard, and she was like, it was such a simple thing to do, and everyone messed it up, and people were so freaked out, but they were so relieved that they messed up on somebody else's project and not on their own projects. So it was very like friendly and agreeable, so I think that worked out. No other updates in the past. Oh wait, CERN also had an update. Looks like Achintia put in an update around line 168. They're doing a lot of stuff with R, Reveal.js, and Plotly. That's pretty cool. We've never done a session on Plotly or on like visualization tools either, which might be kind of fun. Like even in Jupyter Notebooks, or what am I thinking of? There's a Vega is a language that's developed. Yeah, ggplot. Vega, I saw somebody at a conference last week talking about, or she was a researcher at the University of Washington, and I guess she contributes to Vega, the project that allows you to very easily visualize data in a bunch of different visualization formats. So you use the same data structure, and then you can point it to a bunch of different pseudo D3 visualization things. So it was pretty cool when she did the demo, and I was like, whoa, we should do a session on this, because it's very approachable, and you don't actually even need to understand like principles of design to get it to work well and to have it be beautiful. So I think we'll try that too. It's a good idea. All right, let's skip down. Sorry for the background noise again. Yeah, so all the Journal Club articles and things, hopefully they're useful to you around line 207. Only a couple more things I wanted to go over, and then because we're such a small call, we can wrap up if nobody has any updates. But announcements, in the announcements section around line 235, oh yes, this is one thing I definitely wanted to mention. The R Open Sci community, they're people who develop open science or open R packages and then collect them together in like a searchable index. They have a community call as well, and it's on March 7th. It's in a couple days. So if you're interested in R and you want to join, they're really excited to have our members also come to their calls. And Stephanie runs those calls, and she's super wonderful. And I put in a link to the blog on the community call, which is attached to an issue, so you can add your questions or interest areas, and share some resources. So I wanted to plug that community call if you're interested and want to mark your calendars for that. And then we also have, just a quick reminder that we have this, where did it go? Oh, I think I deleted it. That's so weird. I used to have an events, let me see, SG study group events. Last time I talked about it on the previous call, and I know I think you were all there, so you probably already know about this. But we made a little website where people can log events and activities that they're running. And I just need like 2 more people to give feedback on the form. Sarah, I think you already did, so you're off the hook. But look at these 2 other people on the call who could give feedback on the form. This is great. All right, cool. So study group events repo. So check out the events repo and give me feedback, and then I can fix it. And we're gonna try to get people to start logging their events. All of the instructions are in the README. On this little website, so that we can show that there are like 1,000 simultaneous events going on all over the world for study groups or something. And it'll also give us some stats and metrics, so we can be like, oh, there's like 50 people attending, I don't know, events in India, and we should invest more, you know, in swag packs for these people or something. I don't know. So yeah, so check it out. Let me know what you think of the format, and if it's ugly, or if you have any edits. You don't have to be nice. This could be like the Mean Critique Journal Club. Like, you could be mean. But just as a FYI, all of the preceding reviews were very nice. So if you want to continue on the nice trend, you're welcome to. And then the last thing, the newsletter, I always include a study group spotlight in the newsletter, and I write up a little blog post about you and your study group, and then I put your, I link that in the newsletter. And so on March, I have nobody signed up yet, so if anybody wants to be the study group spotlight, you can sign up on line 266. You should totally sign up. And guess what? There's a bunch of months after that. So if all of you rush to sign up now, you can also sign up for April or May. Like, there's so many months. So yeah, please let me know if that's okay, if I can like ask you to be featured. I would love that. And the next call is April 7th. So those are all of my updates. Does anyone else want to talk about anything related to journal clubs or your study groups? Have any questions? No?
I don't think so.
All right, cool. Well, I'll keep you posted. We're gonna be launching some cool things in the next couple months that aren't related to study groups, but are related to like getting funding and support for your projects. So, so hopefully I'll have details about that next time. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, have a great week, everybody, and a great weekend.
Okay.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks, Aurelia.
Bye.
Nice. Bye bye.